Hi, horses. How's everybody doing? Good evening. Good evening. I am 7 minutes late. I had some technical issues. Uh, I'm doing okay. Dr. K. Mr. K. I'm officially starting work on my Dr. K video tonight. Did you want to go live or do you feel like you have to? No, I want to go live. I mean, I set the time. I feel like I have to be here when I say I'm going to be here. So, you know. You got in with a healthy gamer coach, but not Dr. K himself. Yes. I have set up an interview with a healthy gamer coach. Which will be Saturday. I chose to want to do it. Yeah, exactly. Do you practice your weirdly sexual eye contact? No. I think that's just, it's always been how I am. Will the interview be live? Yes, the interview will be live, as far as I know. He's agreed to let me interview him on stream, so that's the plan. Yeah, I don't know. He said he can't talk about anything about specific clients. Obviously, nothing that breaks an NDA. Obviously, I don't think I'd be asking. I mean, I'll probably dig around a little bit, but I'm not gonna like push. So it should be a pretty straightforward conversation. He's in a weird position because he knows I'm criticizing Dr. K, and he basically works for him. What do I hope to achieve in particular with this interview? I feel okay. So I feel critical of Dr. K, and specifically the therapy, not therapy line he's straddling. And then I internally feel critical of some of the things he does in sessions, but I have not. So I want to kind of fill out my own understanding of what exactly is happening, and get a picture of like what I think about that. So like I know I feel critical, and I know there's some stuff I'm almost definitely going to criticize no matter what I find out. But I want context, and I want to be fair, and I want to be measured, and I want to be, evidence based. So I just want to figure out what's going on, figure out how I feel about it, figure out what he thinks, raise some concerns, and see what he thinks about them, or if there's a kind of a company justification. Be respectful to the horsies that call in. This is my I am saying this, but I haven't read this. And before you call them boring or stupid, consider that they were brave enough to call in and confront the horse priest in the confessional. And you are just a horse tapping the keyboard with your large horse hooves. Yeah, my dream is that it will be all pro free speech. Everybody can say whatever they want, and then everyone will happen to just be really nice and supportive and respectful of each other. Uh, it's never how it works, though, is it? Um, it would be nice, though, wouldn't it? Hope my day is going well. I hope yours is too. How my day goes will largely be determined by my own actions in the next 2 hours. So we'll all find out how it's going together. By that I mean this is a delicate show with delicate situations, and I feel like um, it's important to me to do a good job. But it's also important to me that you guys tell me if I'm not. So we'll see. Not every day has to be good. NFT vid, I don't know yet. Still doing some research and data analysis. How's Shaylin? How the fuck should I know? How many hours a week do you put into fitness things? Some kind of fitness thing, small thing every day. Hikes, exercise, lifting weights, walks. If you're talking about actual lifting, probably 3 hours a week. Yeah. Is this a new watch? No, I've had this watch since 2020. When does the call-in show start? Really soon. I think as soon as I am ready. As soon as I feel like we're settled in. If you could do one of your interviews with any historical figure, who would you pick? Martin Luther King. Am I doing the AMA tomorrow? Yeah, I'm doing an AMA and Doobie's Politics Discord. I'll be streaming it here tomorrow. It's on my calendar, wherever that is. Or schedule. It's on my Twitch schedule. I think it's it. I never get the times right when I'm just trying to remember them. I think it's at 6. I think it's at 9 Eastern. Have you ever yearned? Yeah. Oh, yeah. What are your thoughts about the anti-psychiatry subreddit? I haven't checked it out. It sounds interesting. I will look at it. Why are you Jewish? Luck. If I buy one of your shirts, will you promise not to use my info against me? Yes. I promise. Your info will be kept confidential. I haven't decided to be Jewish. Why do you identify as Jewish when you're an atheist? I identify as Jewish in a sense of like when we're talking about racism or people or race. I think race is in the eye of the beholder. So if people treat you like you're Jewish, people who don't like you treat you like you're Jewish, or other Jews are like, oh, hello, brother. I say I'm Jewish because that's how I get treated. But when I'm talking about like how I think or what I believe, I'm not Jewish. When are you Jewish? Exactly. I'm Jewish when I'm around someone who really likes or hates people who look like me. Thoughts on League of Legends? I've never played it, but I've heard it's toxic to new people. People seem to get really angry at that game and possibly addicted. If you let your stream on for a while before you actually start, more people can strap in for the content. Yeah, exactly. I feel like it gets really heavy, so let's start in like 2 minutes. You did well against Spencer King. Thank you. Was I against Spencer though? I feel like it was a mix of against and collaboration. Intro song? Yeah, I should make an intro to this. I'm suddenly very busy. Do you still think a calorie is a calorie when looking at weight loss, regardless of hormone responses, adaptive metabolism, and overall health response? Yeah. The only way a calorie wouldn't be a calorie is if there's something wrong with your body that made you poop out undigested food. So if you have like diarrhea and none of your food is digested, like, oh, I don't want to give an example, but you can imagine. I would say in that case, a calorie is not a calorie because you did not actually digest the calories. But in ordinary metabolism, a calorie is a calorie, regardless of what is going on. You cannot create nor destroy matter or energy. I believe the preservation of mass and energy this is a law of thermodynamics. So you can't break it just because you're having hormonal issues. He treated you better than Vincent James. Yeah, exactly. Like I needed to set a tone of civility. I was going for more of a tone of like civil arguing or civil like jousting with Vincent James, but didn't work at all. I actually think he was purposefully not getting along with me because there were a couple of things I said where it seemed like he started to agree and then he would be like, "Fuck you." So I think I needed to talk to him beforehand somehow. Is there a place to submit our topic to call in before the stream is live? Yes. There's a queue of people who are already in line to call in. You have to go to the Discord and write in the Ask to Speak channel. Is there anything not proven by science that you believe in? I don't know. I don't think so. I don't know. Some people would say my gender beliefs are not supported by science. I think they are. I don't think I have like blind faith in anything though. You're brave for going on the kill stream. Well, thank you, because I'm never going back. So let that be. Let my bravery stand. But yeah, I'm pretty done with the kill stream. Borrowed facts, interesting question. I'm not going to answer that, though. Do you think you'll get banned from Twitch? I'm surprised you lasted this long, not because anything you said is wrong, but because of the cuties pedo drama. I don't really break TOS. I think that people conflate upsetting people or making people mad or provoked with breaking TOS, but they're actually pretty different. Like, there's lots of stuff you can say that will make people really mad at you or scared of you or whatever. That, you know, I don't think I'll get banned for it. I think if I break TOS, I will get banned. I think people will report me for sure, but I think I should be okay. All right. All right, baby. I'm ready. Oh, let me set up make sure my, yeah, I'm ready, baby. I'm ready when you are. Baby. Hello. Hello?
Hey.
Hey.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going okay. How are you?
Good. I'm all right. A little nervous, but fine.
Yeah? Nervous about
Yeah.
what? Just like the crowd?
Mostly because I've never really talked about any of this before. This is kind of a first for me, so.
Okay.
Also, I have a speech impediment, so if I'm kind of hard to understand, just interrupt me and tell me to speak better. So
What's your speech impediment?
I don't know. I was diagnosed with Tourette's. I also have that as well, and I just kind of, especially when I'm like nervous, I get like real shaky in my gut. It's kind of hard to control my breath, so sometimes it just makes it hard to talk.
Okay. Well, we can go slow if that helps.
Sure, sounds good. Anyway, so should I just jump in?
Yeah, if you're ready.
Yeah. Okay. So my confessional is mostly about kind of my just fucked up sexuality. So my very first sort of, I guess you could say, like sexual awakening or whatever. So I discovered porn via 4chan, which is a fantastic way to do that. And yeah, and I remember the on brand one of the very first I think my very first memory of masturbating to porn was the horse porn. So kind of fits with the theme.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah.
You're
Uh,
among
so
friends here.
I know, right? So there's a lot of that, a lot of just like masturbating to fucked up stuff, and I was like 8 or 9, and that kind of
When you say horse porn, are you
Mhm.
talking about like bestiality or like drawing like images of?
like gifs of like chicks like dragging off horses and that sort of
Okay.
thing, and
Yeah.
other animals, and this general debauchery from like 2008, 2009 4chan kind of stuff.
Okay. Okay. And you were very young.
That was like 8 or 9, yeah.
Okay.
So that was sort of the beginning of my sexuality, I guess, and it's kind of spiraled out from there. It's really hard for me to get turned on by anything like normal, uh, like to this day. Unless I'm just like super horny, I can like jack off to anything. Just as far as like my general base level sexuality goes, it's just kind of fucked, I guess. So that's that. And also around the same time,
Wait, sorry.
uh,
You're saying if you want to jack off when you're not horny, then you got to
yeah,
get the horses out, or something equivalently.
yeah, if like, yeah, basically, yeah, essentially.
Okay, I feel like this raises the question: are you like I kind of know what you mean, but like, do you need to jack off when you're not horny?
Um,
You want
uh,
to?
yeah, I want to, and it's more of like just like the build up. If I don't nut in like 2 or 3 days, I become like a complete asshole and just irritable and all that. So it's kind of a feeling that it needs to be released, but I'm not necessarily like sexually aroused or anything, that sort of thing.
I see. So it's like it's like you're a horse and you're jacking yourself
Yeah,
off. Like it's a medical
yeah, kind
procedure
of.
that you are performing on yourself. Okay.
Yeah, that's exactly how it feels. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Continue.
Okay. So there's that portion, and there's also the portion of some weird family sex stuff that's happened to me. Again, on brand. I'm from Arkansas, so. Yeah. But so when I was 13, my cousin, who's about the same age as me, she kind of propositioned me in kind of a fucked up way. Like my parents were out of town, she was staying over, and like she was like, aren't you like horny all the time? Isn't like being a teen like a weird thing?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I guess. What are you getting at?" And she basically just kept, asking like more and more sort of inappropriate questions, I guess.
Yeah.
And then eventually she just kind of turned off the lights and like jumped on me and like started trying to suck my dick and do all that, and nothing was working. And then she ended up getting like real upset at me, and we kind of had a tense relationship since then. That was sort of like the very first like sexual interaction I had. But that was after I sort of discovered my sexuality. Before that, even, and I was probably like 6 or 7. The same cousin. When I was at her house, she showed me a VHS tape of her parents fucking, and she was like, "I found this like weird thing you should check out." She showed me it, and I was like, "That's really fucking weird. I don't know what this is, but it feels wrong." And she also tried to do the whole, like playing doctor thing with it. And I kind of got freaked out and ran away from her house. And those are,
what ages were you in the story where she jumped on you?
I was like 13,
How old was she?
13, about the same age, about 13, 14.
Okay.
And then that last story, we were like 6 or 7.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And so those are sort of like my, I guess, foundational sexual experiences. And ever since that, sex has always been a very anxious thing for me. And it's always very hard to think about almost. And when I'm in that sort of situation with somebody, I disassociate real bad. And I've sort of had to find coping strategies. And I've always end up being like super in my head when I'm with my partners that I can't really connect with them. And that's led to some strained relationships.
Do you talk about this stuff with them? Oh, you said you've
Not
never
really.
talked about this before.
So I've talked about the cousin thing, the one when she jumped on me. I've talked about that before. I haven't talked about anything else yet. No.
Um. Okay. So you wait. This is a confession. What's the confession?
Yeah, it's confession. Yeah.
What are you confessing to?
I guess those things I never told anybody. I've never really spoken it out before, and it's never been
These, but
something I've
these
really.
are things. Well, I mean, one of them is something that happened to you. I'd say two
Mhm.
of them are. Unless are you saying that like I don't know how the one with your cousin is a confession. She threw herself at you, and she. I mean,
I guess it's sort of.
I'm not saying you shouldn't have told me the story. I'm not saying like where's the
Yeah.
part where you did something wrong. I'm just saying that it doesn't sound to me like I guess okay. I'm not here to like moralize on to people positively or negatively. So I guess my question is, do you think you did anything wrong in these stories? And if so, what would that be?
I don't think I did anything wrong. I guess it is partly an advice as well, because like I said, I have a lot of anxiety around all of this stuff, and it's just really hard for me to be open with somebody sexually because of this stuff. Like I said, I'm always like very in my head with stuff, and I've only recently actually been able to like perform at all, and it's kind of fucked up the way I've been able to cope with that. So, along with the horse stuff and all that, I've kind of had a fucked up sexuality, and one of them is it's really hard for me to like engage sexually with somebody without creating a fantasy about it in my head, and it's always like a non-consent kind of fantasy. And so, like with my last relationship, it was easy because she was kind of into that too, and we kind of role played a lot with that sort of
Mm-hmm.
stuff. But even if I'm with somebody that isn't in that sort of thing, I have to put it in my head like I'm doing something to this person. It's always like I'm playing out sort of a rape scene in my head, and I'm not really
Mm-hmm.
able to connect with what's actually happening.
Okay, that kind of makes sense. I feel like if you already feel like you're harming the person on some level, then turning it into a fantasy where you're supposed to do that could be like a way to make that feel safer.
Essentially, yeah.
Horses can't really consent to getting jacked off,
I don't. I don't believe so. I don't believe so. No,
and you definitely didn't consent to your cousin showing you, uh, like homemade porn.
definitely not.
And she probably couldn't really, to be fair to her, she couldn't really consent to seeing that either.
Right. Which I'm sure she's had fucked up stuff as well. You can't really get involved in
Oh
that
yeah,
sort of
yeah,
thing
yeah. I
without.
think it's
Yeah.
pretty clear that there's some kind of abuse happening there, or at least like negligent
Right.
exposure to, yeah.
Yeah.
Um. So yeah, it makes sense that you would do that. I think what I was getting at with asking you if you talk to your partners about this is that it sounds isolating.
Hmm.
Um. Isolation might be like the main problem with it, I guess. Like if your partner knows, like, hey, when we have sex, I'm gonna imagine I'm raping you. I have to do that to get off. That's like where we're starting. I'm working on it. I would like to work on it together. I would like to go to therapy. You should go to therapy. You know that. But
Yeah,
I'm gonna go to therapy. Blah blah. But I can imagine like a relationship where you start out just like saying that that's what's going on. It might be a lot better for you because it sounds like on some level you feel like you're raping the person by imagining you're raping them. Like they don't know that that's what you're thinking about.
yeah, yeah.
I don't really think that we have a like obligation to tell other people what we're fantasizing about, but I do think that if if you're assuming that the person you're having sex with is fantasizing about you or is in the moment with you and they're pretending they're in the moment but actually they're fantasizing that you're like a horse or whatever, um that is a bit distancing, and I could imagine like you might feel guilty about doing that even. So I just think that like if you can let people in, and also your partners may be able to tell you about some pretty strange shit that they're thinking about. Um, it doesn't sound that unusual,
Hmm.
and then that could help too. I think so. My advice would be to. I think there's a place for like more casual sex, where you don't tell people what you're thinking, and it's not
Hmm.
expected that you have that kind of intimacy. I've never really liked that. I feel like if you're dating people, it might be better to date people who you can talk to about this,
Hmm.
and I would go to therapy because there's a lot like tangled up here that I
Yeah,
think you'll
that's
feel
just
better
sort of
about
the
yourself.
notes. I could like, go on for hours about different shit, but that's just sort of I guess
I
the
can
main
tell.
sort of thing. But
Yeah,
yeah,
there's lots more. There's lots more, and yeah, and so I would go exploring in there. But I think that um, I think most people fantasize about things that they're horrified by. I think sexual fantasies are part of like it's a weird mix of like processing what happened to you, reliving it in a way that could be like self harmful, but also is like pretty fun and exciting. And um, you'll hear people argue for one or the other, but I think it's not so straightforward. I think that
Mhm.
I just think going in like trying to understand it and what it means to you without a goal of like I want to stop thinking about these things sexually. Yeah, I guess I wouldn't try to control it so much in terms of what you think about. I would start out with like just bring some other people on board and see what they think and then see like how it strikes you. But
Okay.
I also I if it were me, I wouldn't have sex with somebody who would be disgusted by my sexuality or well, in a bad way
Hmm.
if they found out about it. Like I
Hmm.
and I have done that. I've spent a lot of my life hiding my sexuality and my fantasies from partners. And I don't like that. I don't. I feel like that does lead to some dissociation.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, I guess dissociation, but this whole thing has kind of been my big thing because you were talking about feeling guilty about having the fantasy itself, and there is a bit of that, but it is mostly just the fact that I'm so disassociated from my partner in the moment that there's no
Yeah,
real chance to connect with them at all.
yeah, yeah. And so I feel like you need a partner who can actually connect to your real sexuality, not the facade
Hmm.
that you are putting on.
Right.
And like if you're telling yourself that no one can connect to your sexuality, like if like look at 4chan, like that's not true. There are there's people who will connect to any part of you that you just got to find people who are open enough and honest enough to do that with.
Hmm. Yeah, for sure.
I don't think I have anything else to add.
I don't think so either.
All right, well, thanks for calling in.
For sure. Thanks for the advice.
You're welcome. Look at the chat real quick. Therapy is a trap. Why do you think therapy is a trap? How do you feel about Jesus? Weirdly, listening to you has made me more religious. I'm a fan of Jesus's teachings. I'm a fan of Jesus. Uh, if I were, why didn't you just become a therapist? Because I'm more of an artist, like artist, writer, speaker, rapper. Like these are all things I want to do, and I don't think I can be. I've exposed so much of myself publicly in so many different ways. I can't be a therapist and do what I'm trying to do at the same time. You can't give your clients access to your like deepest darkest thoughts the way I do. It doesn't work. I don't think. Some therapists suck ass. Yeah. Therapy saved my life. Yeah. Mine too. Has there been any issues with people trolling? No, not really. F you, Mr. Girl, you're being an asshole to Joe Lewis. Maybe. Yesterday on that panel. Maybe. I can see why you would say that. It would be weird to have a therapist with Mr. Girl's Cuties review. Yeah, exactly. It's not. It's not good. Okay. Baby, bring it on. I'm ready.
Oh man, hello.
Yo. Hello.
Hey, this is
Hey.
crazy.
What?
Talking to you, man. I've been watching
Oh.
your videos for like 3 weeks now.
Welcome.
Thank you. Uh, yeah, I'm a little nervous. Um, uh, yeah. Should I just jump into what I'm gonna talk about, or
Yeah.
okay, cool. Uh, so I'm trying to think like the best way to kind of, I guess, phrase. Um, well, so I live with my parents and my brother. Um, and my brother has a lot of issues, I guess, is the main thing. Um, he's a very violent uh, aggressive and seemingly mentally ill person. Um, and I guess I'm kind of just coming on to ask for advice about how to deal with that. Um, we can get into more details if I'm assuming you're going to need more details.
Sure, if you
Um,
want to. Yeah, I would
Yeah.
my my first reaction is there's a concept in family therapy called the identified patient.
right,
I've mentioned it in videos before.
right,
I'm a big fan of this as like a way of framing or I guess reframing family issues where the family decides that one person is the crazy person and then that
right,
person acts everything out and then it kind of gives everybody else cover for their own behavior and basically they get scapegoated like psychologically.
right. Yeah,
um,
I could definitely see that being part of this.
yeah,
Um,
so anytime if I ever anyone who starts a story with like my brother is the problem,
right.
I would encourage you to question the the just the simplicity of that.
Yeah. And I guess so then now with that response, I would actually say my brother and my mom are the problem. I'd add
Okay.
to that. Um, because I could like tell a story if you want.
Yeah, yeah,
That would
yeah.
be
I
helpful.
want to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah, tell me the story.
Yeah, get into the juicy shit. So it's pretty recent. Um, kind of so yeah, like a week ago. This is like one of many examples. This happens pretty frequently. We actually had a small thing today, but I'll tell the week ago one because it's a bit more interesting. I was hanging out with my girlfriend in my room. Um, she like comes over a lot, and I get a text from my brother that he wants to have a family meeting, and that everyone needs to come into the living room right now, uh, and like he needs to show us something. So we all go into the living room, and we're all like, "Okay, what are you gonna show us?" And
Wait, who's sorry, who else is there?
so it's me, my girlfriend, my mom, and my dad, and
Okay.
then my brother, obviously.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he said something like, "Okay, because everybody thinks I'm crazy when I bring this up. We all need to go to the car because I need to show you something." And we have two cars, and the one car is shared between me and my brother. Um, and so my dad was kind of like, fuck, I don't want to do that like that. Like, why can't you just like tell us what's wrong? Um, and immediately my mom was like, she went into like panic mode, because the problem is if we don't like kind of give in, he's gonna start like throwing things and breaking things and screaming. Um, so my dad wanted to push back, but he just kind of instead uh like was like, "Hey, I'll just stay behind. You guys go." And I didn't want to go
Wait.
either. What's that?
How old are you?
I'm 20,
And how old is he?
26.
Okay.
Yeah. Uh, so my dad stayed behind, and I wanted to stay behind as well because I'm like with my girlfriend. It's kind of fucking weird. I don't want to go down into the garage, and we live in an apartment, so like it's a big garage thing. I didn't want to go down there and fucking entertain whatever this thing was. Um, and but my mom was like, "Come down," and so me and my girlfriend went with. And we went down. Everything was chill. We had like a nice little conversation in the elevator leading down to the garage. And then when we got to the car, I thought he was just gonna like show us something on the car or something like that. But instead, he's like, "Okay, everybody get in the car. We're like driving somewhere." And I was like, "Fuck no, I'm not doing that. Like that is insane. Like I don't want to get murdered by you or something." Um, so I said like, "No,
You're afraid of him?
yes, yes, 100%."
Okay.
Uh, and yeah, so I said like, "No, I'm not doing that." Uh, and my girlfriend was already like, "This is so fucking weird," because she's never like seen an interaction like this before. And my mom is like, uh, "I'll just get in the car, like, you guys stay out, blah blah blah, like just watch or whatever." And then my brother was getting in the car, and I like went up to the door, and I wanted to just like try and kind of like understand what was going on. So I was saying like, why do you have to make a big deal out of this? Like, why can't you just? Because at this point, I had realized what he was trying to show us, and it'll come up in
Which
a
was
second. But
which?
yeah, it's when you leave our garage, there's a gate, right? You have to like press a little button and the gate opens. And so there's like a little metal bit underneath the garage, underneath the gate. Uh, and there's like rubber that you can drive over. It's essentially like a speed bump.
Okay.
Um, and he's worried that we're not going over the rubber bit and that we're going too fast over it
Okay.
um, in the car. And he's brought this up to me once before, months prior, and I like agreed with him, and I was like, yeah, for sure, I'll make sure to be careful going over that thing. Um, and so I was like asking him. I stopped the door. I was like holding the car door open because I wanted to like talk to him. I didn't want him to just like close the door on me. Um, and I was like, why are you making such a scene out of like showing us this? Why can't you just tell us? Like, why do you have to bring us down to the garage? And the whole time he's been very like condescending. He's like saying how like we don't believe him or that he needs to show us this because we're not going to believe him. Um, and uh, he he just starts telling me like get in the car like or get out of the way or whatever. Um, and so I close the door and yeah, he goes and he actually drives over the metal bit, so he doesn't even go over the rubber. So he showed us the thing wrong, which was funny. But then he came back, and when he got out of the car, he was like way more angrier. I don't know if that's a word. He was way more angrier than he was when he got in, and he like threw the car keys at the ground below me, and so I would like have to pick them up. Um, and I was like, "What the fuck?" Um, And so, like, while he was walking away from me, I was just saying, like, why do you have to do this? Like, why can't you just talk to us? And like, it was really frustrating. And then afterwards, uh, I texted him this long text saying, like, hey, it's really condescending and mean for you to like, it's really rude and condescending to like come and uh, call for a family meeting just to show us something that you can like just tell us in a sentence, you know? Um, and his response was just like suck a fat dick or something. And I was like, fucking cool, dude, great. Um, so then we kind of had a bit of a this is something I'm not proud of, is that then my responses were like I started kind of flinging shit back at him and I started saying like fuck you and stuff or whatever. Um, but that's like one example. That's probably like a lesser example of something that's happened. Like he's punched my dad in the face before. He's like smashed
Why?
shit.
Why did you punch your dad in the face?
What was the reason? I'm trying to remember. Um, it was probably something really fucking small. Um, but my dad's like my dad's a pretty chill dude. He wound up yeah he wound he was like South African special forces and shit, so he doesn't really like he didn't really care, so he just like pushed my brother back into his room. That was a while ago though. Um,
Why
but
are you
he
afraid of
also
him?
oh well, that kind of goes way far back. Growing up, he used to like really beat the shit out of me when I was a little kid.
Okay.
He used to be really aggressive with me. He'd like trap me in boxes. He used to have airsoft guns and he'd like shoot me in the feet with them. Um, he has like screamed at me that he'd murder me at some point. Um, there's one time where uh, I like borrowed his bass amp because I play guitar and I wanted to use his bass amp or whatever. And then afterwards, he got like really mad at me and I like called him a cunt or something. And then he grabbed me and threw me into my drawers. Um, and yeah, uh, he's just yeah, he gets really angry really quick. He'll break shit often. I get really freaked out whenever I hear like slamming or like loud noises. Like right before the interview, my mom was like hammering something in the hallway, and I immediately like was like, oh fuck, kind of went into like PTSD mode. Um, but yeah, uh, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that's that's just some of the stuff. Yeah.
Okay. Um, and you're saying your mom is enabling him?
Yeah. So this was the big thing is she sees this as so okay. One thing I forgot to bring up is that he said that I slammed the car door on him after I closed the car door after that whole gate thing incident. And he was saying how like his arm and leg were hurting, whatever. Um, and he always has some sort of physical injury that he has to like deal with
Mm.
constantly. Like there's always something physically wrong, and that's why he can't get a job, and that's why he can't work or go to school.
Wait,
Um,
you're in your house with him right now?
yes, yes. I'm
Are
actually
you
trying to be
talking? You're
I'm trying to be a
talking
little
quietly
quiet.
because you
Yeah.
are in fear of him at this moment.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Uh, so like he just went to get an X-ray today for his hand because I don't know, last time there was a fight, he like smashed a cupboard or something, he like punched a cupboard and now he's like my hand's broken or whatever, but there was nothing wrong with his hand.
Okay,
Um
we're getting distracted.
yeah.
You said your mom enables him, but then we're
Yes.
getting sidetracked.
Yeah, I was trying to so she always says that oh, he's just in so much physical pain that he's angry and that's why this happens and like she makes excuses for him. She says like things are just going to get better. We just need to like kind of like go along with whatever he wants, and things will get better. Um,
That seems not true.
like, yeah, exactly. So this has been going on for years.
Okay, and so dad doesn't mind getting punched in the face, so he's like whatever. He's
Well,
just
yeah,
stoic.
with that, but he's definitely more. He's like we need to get him in an inpatient program or something. That's kind of the plan now. Is
Okay.
hopefully, yeah.
Does he have a diagnosis?
No. Um,
Uh,
yeah,
it,
he
well,
he
in sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say anytime we try to get him to go to a mental health person, he's gone to two therapists and he like fired them. Um,
Yeah,
that's what he says. He says he like fired them.
you can
Uh,
fire your therapist. I think
yeah, for sure.
I'm
Yeah,
on board with him saying I'm even on board with him doing that.
right. Yeah.
Um, but
Uh,
there's there a part where your mom protects him from his mean therapist after like I guess enables or validates his. I mean,
yeah,
based on what you've said, it sounds like he's gonna need to feel like he's not being forced to go,
right,
or at least like he has some say in how it's going down.
right.
So I would expect if you're gonna successfully get him in therapy, it's gonna take um, quite a few. But um, you've got a problem with your dad where if you were to go to family therapy, which I think is a really good idea,
Right.
I suspect your father would resist that.
Actually, he's been wanting to do that with my mom at least.
What
My
about with.
mom really doesn't want to.
Okay. What
Yeah.
about with the whole family? I feel like you all need to
Um,
go.
yeah, maybe.
But
I think
if
that could
anyone
be a good
resists
idea.
all of you going, and then that person tells your brother that he has to go, you you can't do that
Right. Yeah.
because he most obviously has to go. But I think you all have. I honestly think everybody should be in individual therapy, and your whole
Right.
family needs to go to therapy together.
Yeah. So I'm the only one personally in individual therapy right now. Um,
Okay,
yeah, my parents want to do couples counseling or whatever, like marriage therapy, because there's
that
like a
seems
lot
good.
of stuff going on. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds good too.
Yeah.
I
And
just
then,
don't see how you can convince him to go um, if anyone is resisting going with him.
right. So I'm not too sure about this, but I think he has agreed to go to therapy. But it's the
Oh,
problem
okay.
now is we can't find a therapist, but I don't know if that's finding a therapist for lack of trying, or there's just actually hard to, or if it's just actually hard to find a therapist right now. But that was like weeks ago that we started looking, and we haven't found one yet. or he hasn't found one yet because it's his like responsibility to do it. At least that's like how my parents see it. They're not like really helping him do it, I don't think, but I think he doesn't want them to. Anytime they try to like help him, he gets really angry.
Yeah, it just I guess I just think that you guys need some kind of third party to help sort this out.
Yeah,
And
I,
he's not. I don't think he's gonna be on board. Like, I believe he is being scapegoated
right.
for things that have nothing to do with him, but also is obviously like out of control and like violent.
Yeah,
And I think that having a therapist kind of sort those things out with everybody, like just from the way you told the story where he's like, no one's going to believe me or listen to me.
right.
Why, like what is he going to get out of going to therapy if the therapist is going to tell him, help him realize like how he feels or what he thinks about your family, but then he thinks that no one's going to give a shit when he comes back anyway.
Right. Yeah.
So I I strongly feel that everybody kind of has to be in there together.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'd agree with that. I think, yeah, I
Um,
think a group therapy thing would be really good.
yeah, because it just sounds like both of your parents have let this get way out of control for a really, really long time.
Yeah.
This is
Um,
like a conversation you should have been having when he was like 12, not
right.
26.
Yeah, definitely. Um, so I guess uh I don't want to take up too much time, but like one of the big things now that I have to deal with is just um like for myself, like what like I don't really know what to do. Like
Yeah, you're. Sorry, go ahead.
oh I was just gonna say like I suffer from really severe anxiety. I have like agoraphobia. It's very hard for me to leave my apartment. I've been working on that a lot. Uh, just yesterday, I went and got my nose pierced at a tattoo parlor, which was really cool. Um, but like I almost feel completely trapped in this situation. And I don't really like, it's very hard to deal with. And I kind of have this frequent problem of like I'll be going to sleep at night and all I'm thinking about is how am I going to defend myself if tonight's the night that my brother decides to like murder me or something. Like I don't know if that's a rational fear, but like it's still like I
I
have
think
these
it
like
might
things.
be.
Yeah,
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 I I don't. I wouldn't call it anxiety. Anxiety is when you adapt to a situation like maladaptively
right,
somehow. Like you're in fight or flight all the time because you used to be in danger and now you have PTSD and now you're super anxious because you feel like that, whatever the war you were in is still going on in some way. Or anxiety could be like you're really angry but you can't express it or you're afraid to express it. But you're just scared. I wouldn't call it. I mean, you can call it anxiety. I think it probably describes how it feels, but the
right.
thing you're afraid of is still happening actively. Like
Yeah,
you're actually speaking quietly because you are afraid you will be beaten if your brother finds out that you're talking about him.
right. Yeah,
So that's just fear.
right.
Um, it does raise the question of why you feel like you can't. Why are you afraid to leave? I get why you're afraid to stay. What do you feel like
Yeah,
would happen if you moved out?
well, that's a whole other can of worms. I do have I have like I have this thing called a metaphobia. It's a whole different thing of like it's a fear of vomiting. I have like a bunch of different uh I guess what you would call anxiety disorders. I have OCD and stuff. So I also I was put on benzodiazepines when I was 15 and I've recently been trying to get off of them and that's been really like traumatizing. It's So there's a lot of different reasons as to why going out makes me really anxious. Just because like when I left the house like a couple months ago, like every time I would have a panic attack, and yeah, it's getting better now, but it's yeah, that's kind of like the main reason why I get anxious when I leave the house.
What about moving out of the house?
I really, really, really want to do that. Problem
Okay.
is, I need a job to do that. I live in Washington, which is like, not to dox myself, but like I live in Washington where it's very, very expensive to live anywhere. Um, and yeah, first I need to get a job, then I need to have enough money to like actually live on my own. I would really like to do that though.
I'm guessing the girlfriend wants you to do that too.
Um, Yeah, I think she's pretty content because she also lives with her parents, or mom at least. Um, and she's content living with her parents as well. It's kind of weird. We're both like she's trying to save up as much money as she can, so she doesn't want to
Okay,
like
but
get her
she's
own
she,
place.
is she living in daily fear of her mom?
No, she's not living in daily fear of much. No. Well, not like in her home at least.
Um. Okay. Well, you're already in therapy, so I mean,
Yeah,
you can't live there forever.
for sure.
So
Definitely
I
don't
would
want
say
to.
you have to figure out the panic disorders.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And I'm kind of working on that. Like I said, I went out yesterday. I go out every day. I go for drives to places. Uh, I'm hoping to get back into like hobbies and stuff. I did jujitsu before, so I'm hoping to do that again. Uh, but yeah. Um,
Well, part of me doesn't want to push you too hard because you sound like you're really terrified to like get your own job and move out. But you're also saying
right.
that you think your life is in danger. So,
Right.
does anybody ever call the police on your brother?
We did once. Um,
Okay. If
yeah.
you like if you think he's threatening your life or in danger, you know you have to call the police. Like you
Yeah.
okay. Also, um uh the way you're describing texting with him, like bickering back and forth, sounds like part of you wants to believe that this is normal on some level, that like you like it sounds like you're kind of gaslighting yourself or being gaslit somehow about like whether or not he's like abusive
Right.
or crazy,
Yeah.
and it sounds like he is. And I don't know
Right.
that you can have a normal, at least right now, younger brother, older brother, like, oh, you told me eat a dick? Well, fuck you, asshole. Like, if you actually think that you are in danger, um, I don't know. It just seems worrisome.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I the what my parents always tell me is like, you know, yeah, he's violent, but like I don't think he would ever actually do anything.
He would.
Um, yeah.
People do horrible things all the time. I guess I'm torn because I'm like the best thing for your brother is family therapy.
Right.
The best thing for you is probably to escape.
Yeah, that's 100% what I like want to do. Um, uh,
And yet you feel
my
paralyzed by panic.
yeah, my girlfriend has an RV in her yard that her grandma was living in that she doesn't live in anymore, and I've
Bro,
kind of been like contemplating.
I would go tonight if it were me.
Yeah. Uh,
Seriously.
only
Like
problem is
if you
that
think your life is in danger, then like yeah, you'll freak out, you'll have a panic attack, you'll throw up, but like eventually you'll like your body only has so much adrenaline in it. Like
right,
you can't freak out for that long.
right,
I don't know. I would make some kind of plan with your therapist about how to escape. And if you have a free RV you can live in for a while where you're not going to feel like you're in danger of getting murdered at any moment, that I don't know. That sounds yeah, I understand that it would be you would be in extreme psychological duress, so definitely plan this out with your therapist.
Right.
But I think getting out of actual physical danger sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
And like
Yeah, that would be
if
that'd
you've
be really
lived with
nice.
being like beaten and attacked your whole life, like you're gonna be an anxious person to some degree for a long time. And but
Yeah.
I think getting yourself safe is the priority.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I really appreciate this. Um, it was really cool talking to you. I don't know if there's anything else you wanted to say, or if I mean,
I don't think
I
so.
think I'm good.
I just realized I'm giving you contradictory advice where like
Right.
the best thing for the family and for your brother may not be the best thing for you. So my advice to you is to do the best thing for you.
Yeah, definitely. Um, well, cool. Uh, thanks for talking to me.
You're welcome.
Love your music, by the way, and so does my mom, uh, which is
Oh, well,
funny.
thank you.
Yeah, yeah. Keep it up. Also, the beard's looking great.
Well, thank you. Thank you
Yeah.
again.
Yeah. Okay. Do I just end the call, or
Yeah,
am I
yeah, you
gonna
can
get
just end the
taken out?
call.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Thanks. See ya.
All right, see you later. That wasn't even that weird. I struggle with that. I would say that is pretty weird. I feel like part of what people are asking me is like to give my sense of how weird something is. Like how unusual is it to be thinking this thing or feeling this thing? And so I don't want to be the arbiter of like defining what is weird. I don't think anybody wants me to be doing that. But at the same time, um, I feel like there are so many things that I say are normal that other people think are weird. That if I say something is weird, it carries a lot of weight. Um, I want to define the situation of that caller as pretty weird. Especially if somebody says like they feel they're in danger, but maybe that's normal. I want to say, no, no. Like part of what there are certain countries and places in this country where it is normal to feel like you're in danger. Uh, and like maybe there's no way to escape that. But this feels like it doesn't. This doesn't have to be happening. So that's why I'm more comfortable saying like, no, this is weird. I wouldn't use the word weird. Probably toxic and dangerous. Maybe. I'll think about that. Do you have a salt lick in your office? I actually don't. All right. That's enough chat for now. Baby, I'm ready for the next call. Oh, look who the fuck it is.
Yeah, I hang
You're
around a little
always
bit.
you're always first,
Yeah, I
always
try to be
first on the
first.
video. Yeah, you're pretty
Yeah.
good at it.
Yeah, well, it's good to talk to you. It's been a while. I'm a big fan of your content, your way of speaking with people. So, good to talk to you.
Good to talk to you too. All right, what's going on?
Okay, so I have, I guess, a confession, and I want to give advice regarding it. It's definitely warranted. I think this year, especially seeing some of your stuff, but also a bunch of other stuff, I've noticed that, like me as a person, I struggle a lot to talk about how I'm feeling, especially to other people I care about. So I have a
Oh wait,
tendency to,
hang on 1 second. It sounds your volume sounds like it's modulating a lot, like you're coming closer and further away to your mic. Is that true, or is it just the mic itself?
sorry, sometimes my mic will just cut off. I'll try to talk louder.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So you're saying you have trouble expressing your feelings.
Yeah, definitely. I've trouble expressing my feelings, and I feel like I don't want to burden people. Um, if I do have like things that I probably should express, but like don't. I don't know exactly why, but I'm trying to get over that like this year, and this is part of that for me, I guess.
Okay.
Um, so my confession. Oh, by the way, I'm glad you got rid of those other headphones. Those were distracting, uh, for me, although they did look like horseshoes. Um,
Yeah.
so basically, I'm a sadist. Um, I don't exactly know why. I feel like I've always kind of been like this. And so like as an extension of that, I really enjoy power dynamics, and it's something that I feel like a lot of people look. So for me, it's like a line of how do I, satisfy myself in this way, but without hurting people, like in a non-consensual way, I guess. Even
Okay. So
though,
when you say sadist, do you mean like in the BDSM sense?
yeah, yeah, especially in the BDSM sense, but even on like a personal level, sometimes it's like fun to like provoke a reaction out of people. Like I sort of enjoy it. I don't know if that's necessarily connected or not. Um, but yeah, I guess I'm not really sure how that came about, and it's hard to incorporate that into like a framework for a functional relationship. I've sort of done it with somewhat success in the past, um, but I think a big maybe misconception or people may be surprised that it doesn't necessarily go along with like a lack of empathy. Like I'll still be able to definitely empathize with people. So I want to use it like productively, but sometimes, especially with me not wanting to talk about my feelings, like I feel like sometimes I'll sort of just not do what makes me fulfilled, and then I'll just sort of cope with it. And
Mm-hmm.
then that like bubbles up. And later is like when I'm spilling my guts, like if there's an issue, I'll be like, well, I don't feel like I've been able to do all this that I really want to do. And it's like, oh, well, why didn't you fucking tell me that? And it's like, oh yeah, good point. Um,
What if you're provoking people so they'll express feelings because you feel like you can't?
that's that's a lot. So I may be provoking people so that they can express themselves so that I don't have to.
Yeah,
I guess
like
that.
what if you are using them as kind of like a mouthpiece? Like you don't want to express your pain or anger or whatever, and so maybe it feels good to get someone else to express. your pain and anger.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I could see that as productive for me, maybe evasive, but yeah, that's an interesting thought. Might have to think about that.
If that is true, it might be ultimately unsatisfying in the long run because you're not actually getting to emote.
Yeah. How do you think I overcome that? Like I express myself more originally, so I don't have to.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I guess like if I can't cry,
Yeah.
so I make other people cry, that could be satisfying in the moment, but I also imagine I would resent them eventually because now I'm just listening to you cry when really I'm the one who needs to. And so if that's any part of your sadism,
It may be part of how I deal with it, I guess. But I've never had like a true interaction with someone that enjoys it as much as I do, like the flip side. Like there's some people that say they do, but they won't like the pain or whatever. They'll like the power dynamics, which is good, but they won't like the
they're not
pain
actually masochists.
specifically. Yeah, they're not actually masochists. They're people, coping with their own stuff. So it comes to a point where like the power dynamics are good, but um I don't want to feel like I'm sounds like a weird thing for a sadist to say, but I don't want to impose myself too much. Like if I get the sense that it's not what they want, um, and then yeah, maybe a way I deal with that is by like the role playing, like the CNC stuff,
I
because
don't
like
know. I don't know because if you're really a sadist, you may you may not actually want a masochist. It's kind of a contradiction in terms, really.
yeah, yeah,
Because if
that's
somebody
kind of
enjoys
fair.
it, then it's not hurting them.
Yeah, but at the same time, like I want to hurt them just enough that it's fulfilling, but not enough that it makes me like that I have to feel bad about it, you know?
I don't know that there's a gray area.
Yeah.
I don't think that space exists. Maybe, and that might be part of the problem where you might be very angry and very sad, and the pain you want to inflict um, may be beyond what you're comfortable inflicting.
Yeah,
And I don't
maybe.
know that there's going to be a person who can magically make you feel like you're, both hurting them and in control of them, but also make you feel like it's okay. Maybe you don't want it to be okay.
Mm. Yeah, I don't want it to be okay. Yeah, I mean, because it's not really okay, but I feel like if it's at least productive, like not doing harm, you know, and I think that's like at least morally important, right?
It's morally important to not do harm. Yeah, I mean, if people are consenting to you harming them, I guess what you're saying is they think they're consenting, but you can tell they're not actually on board for it. They just like the other part where you're telling them what to do and you're paying lots of attention to them and they're in a special outfit and you're tying them up or whatever. And then when it comes time for the part that you want, where you're actually hurting them, they are not that into that part.
Yeah, in a certain way. And in a certain way it's kind of inevitable like for a like serious like long-term relationship at some point someone's not going to be totally into it, like whatever it is you're doing. So like how do I yeah, tread that line?
I don't know if you can. I guess well, you said you want to express your feelings. So that might help
Yeah.
with this, but either way, it seems like you need to start expressing your feelings more.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think the suppression of expressing feelings, if nothing else, it like diffuses the like time bombs that you're just putting around, you know. And then
Yeah,
when someone unwittingly like trips it up, like,
you
oh, it's an
explode.
excuse to explode. But yeah, like it didn't necessarily have to be there before. Like there are times where everything works fine, you know, and then if something trips me up and then I start planning bombs, I take it out on other people, you know?
Yeah, I guess that all the framing you're using is very focused on other people.
Yeah.
So like when you started out, you're like, I'm a sadist, and like you're talking like you say it like you're crazy. So my first feeling was like is this person a serial killer? But then as you talk, it doesn't seem like you are. It seems like you just feel really bad about imposing on other people. So you're like, okay, well, I don't want to bother people with my feelings, and so then I'm like, maybe you should express them more. And you're like, yeah, if I express my feelings more, then I won't explode at other people, thus inconveniencing them. And it's like, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I think you have emotional needs. I think you need to express yourself for yourself. And I
Yeah.
think you should do that for yourself. That's what I was suggesting. But then you're like, I'm a sadist, and so I tie people up and I beat them, and they've agreed to this, and you're like, but you know, then I feel bad for them. So it just seems like you're trying to. It just seems like you feel like other people are too fragile for you to be able to like be yourself and express yourself sexually or emotionally or however, and you just feel like you're hurting people all the time, which is, as you said, making you then pull back, which then makes you want to lash out more. So like you could see your sadism as like a kind of reaction to um, you trying to channel your all of your like expression and aggression into safely defined compact sessions. But you might
Yeah.
need to take that aggression that is there and that willingness to hurt other people with your feelings and your desires and sort of spread that out throughout your entire life.
Yeah.
And you might
That's
just need to be
a
more
fair
like
point.
that, like in general.
Yeah, I think that would help me a ton. Um, yeah. I would say that like the sadism may be used as an outlet though, but it definitely predates like the current issues. But I do see what you're saying. Like, sounds like I use it as a funnel. Um,
Yeah, I don't
yeah.
know. I don't. I can't really get into the origin of your issues. I don't think we should try, but I think um, I would not settle on a narrative of when this started and how this happened. I would go to therapy and try
Okay.
to, well, yeah, and try to
What
figure it out there because
what am
I think
I
this,
what am I
yeah,
essentially trying to figure out in therapy? Like how to express my feelings, or what do you think?
whatever you want. What you told me is that you have trouble expressing your feelings and that you feel bad about um, provoking other people and about being a sadist. So
Yes.
I think those are. I think that's a good place to start. I don't. Um, I mean, that's a good thing about therapy is you can come in with whatever goal you want.
Yeah.
If you're asking why I'm recommending it to you, because I don't know that you know what you're feeling, and I don't know that when you do, that you know how to express it to other people in a way that feels to you like you've actually expressed it, and that you feel like they can take in. And so, if you're
Yeah.
compressing all of your emotional expression into emotional outbursts or hitting people in sexual scenarios, I don't think that that is going to satisfy you. And I know that um, I know what it's like to, and I think this is very common, to compress your emotional needs into very focused, like sexual needs or fantasies or fetishes.
Yeah.
Um, but it's, and like it can be fun, but it's ultimately there's another part that you're neglecting. That,
Yeah.
and I'm not telling you to stop like doing whatever you want to do
I see what you're
sexually.
saying. It's like I'm
I'm
kind of
saying,
hijacking this other thing to fix this other issue that isn't being
yeah, and all of
resolved
it just it
normally.
all just seems in service of not bothering other people with your feelings.
Yeah, that was yeah, that's been mentioned to me. Like why didn't you just say that? You know? It's like I want to handle people like with kitty gloves, you know, when
Until you want
um
to whip them. But I think
yeah,
that if you
yeah.
take the kitty gloves off, I imagine you're doing this for a reason, and I imagine it is going to cause some chaos in your personal life if you take the kitty gloves off. But ultimately, I think that is
Productive.
something, yeah, I think that
Yeah.
would be something to work toward in order to take better care of yourself.
Okay. I'll think about that.
Okay.
Okay. Thanks, Max.
You're welcome. I'll see you 5 seconds after I post my next video.
Yeah, once you post your video, I'll be there.
I know.
Okay.
All right.
Toodaloo.
Toodaloo. Um, I'm looking at a security related message from somebody. I'm going to send it to baby. I don't know what you want to do with this information, baby. Take it as you will. All right, cool. All right, let's take a look at the chat here. That was a nice conversation. Yeah. Security, I'm scared. It's all under control. #1 Twitch therapist. I'm not a therapist. I'm just a rapper. Security alert. Moist Critical is after you again. I don't believe that. I don't believe that at all. I feel like Moist Critical likes me now. I've decided that for myself. Who's more monotone, Critical or Mr. Girl? I think Critical, just by a slight margin. All right. Uh, Moist is a cutie. Yeah. All right, baby, I'm ready. Whoa, baby, you're in the confessional.
No, I'm not.
Whoa. Okay. Sorry, give me just 1 second. Okay. Okay. I'm ready. How's it going? Hello? I see you in the confessional. You're not talking. Baby, what's happening? Mr. Girl, do you believe in ghosts or aliens? I don't believe in ghosts. I believe that it's probably likely that there's some form of life other than us at some point, maybe not concurrently. Whoever's in the confessional, if you're ready to talk, just let me know. I'm just going to talk to chat until you're ready. And baby, if you have any idea why this person isn't talking, you know, help me figure it out. Really like the beats on your rap album. Thank you. I made them all. I appreciate that. Baby. Okay. I'm gonna message him. Baby's gonna. Oh, hello.
Hi.
Hello. How's it going?
Pretty good. This is terrifying.
I know.
How's it going for you?
That's what everybody says. It's.
Yeah,
I'm going okay. I'm doing good. We've never had someone just not talk before, but I don't know what happened. Other than that, though, I think things are going swimmingly.
Good. Cool.
All right, so advice or confession?
Yeah. So, yeah, somebody in chat just asked if I'm trans, and yes, I am. Okay.
Don't read the chat.
Somebody else hates my voice. Okay, whatever.
The chat is chat's not your friend.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
Yeah, I am trans, and it's gonna be a little anticlimactic, I think, because you kind of covered a lot of this stuff with Lumi like 2 days ago or whatever. But I
Okay.
suppose the confession is that is that I relate to being trans much more in the way that you talk about it than typical narrative about it, which is to say that it feels more like a desire to be the thing than like than some kind of delusion that I am the thing in some ontological sense, or that I ever can be, like that I could change my biology, or that I was born in the wrong body or anything like that.
This is a confession because you think that this is
Well, you're
bad,
not supposed to say that.
other. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Well, and more than that, I don't know if you've ever spoken about autogynephilia.
No.
But do you know what it is?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I definitely experienced some level of autogynephilic arousal earlier on, certainly. That's definitely not something you're supposed to talk about. And I understand why it's
Because it's
so controversial.
undermining. Because it undermines
Yeah,
the
well,
standard, like, narrative.
because it undermines the standard narrative, and then also I think that people don't really understand what it means. They think that it just means like, oh, you have trans is just a fetish, right? And it's just like if somebody had I don't know, like a diaper fetish or something, and they're demanding the right to like, my identity is like I wear diapers or something, and like, and they're demanding the right to like be able to wear them at work or something like that. Like that's how I think that's how most people receive it when they hear about the concept of autogynephilia. And so then I understand why, trans people would not want that
Sure.
sort of in the public domain. Yeah.
Can I ask how old you are?
I'd rather not say why.
Approximately.
Late 20s.
Okay. Continue.
Yeah, yeah, I know. I said not to read chat, but yeah, somebody mentioned ContraPoint's autogynephilia video. It was good. So you're you're either the best or the worst person in the world to talk to this about, or to talk to about this, because probably. But here I go.
Okay. I'm ready.
Yeah. Well, so it seems to me like you talk about three things that are sort of in a similar vein, right? Like rapists or domestic abusers, pedophiles, and trans people, and they're connected by this thing that like there's something that to message about it. Yeah. To message about it accurately is something that people are afraid to do because it seems like irresponsible. A lot of people think of it as irresponsible because
To tell the truth.
yeah,
Yeah.
because most people will not
Can't handle the truth.
understand. Yeah, they can't. They can't. Yeah.
Okay.
And so, I mean, I tend to agree with you that that's wrong, but I don't really know if it's wrong. So I worry about that in talking about this publicly.
Okay, so you wait. What do you? What are we talking about? Are you asking me for advice? Are you asking me if I think that you should lie about what you think about trans people?
I guess I'm asking you whether you think people can handle it, can handle. I mean,
I
given
don't.
that,
I
well,
don't
I don't know.
think. I don't. I don't. I
Yeah.
don't. I don't think that we should evaluate before we tell the truth whether
Mm.
or not people can handle it. I think that we can learn to handle the truth, but only if we hear the truth. I think we should tell the truth. And these are subjects that
I
I
think,
agree a lot of people lie about, and I wish they would stop. So, and I've publicly called for them to stop. So if you're asking me if I think you as a trans person should lie, no, I think you should tell the truth.
yeah, I
Whatever you
think you're
believe the
right.
truth to be. I don't want people to
Yeah, I think
lie
that's
and
right.
say they agree with me if they don't. Yeah, yeah. I just think people should be honest, especially about topics that are so delicate that the last thing we need is lies.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Um, okay,
Nice.
so I did experience autogynephilic arousal, and uh, do I need to say what that is?
No.
Or okay. Um,
We all speak Latin.
yeah, so for a long time, because I because the trans narrative seemed to me to be, you're born in the wrong body, this kind of thing. I thought, well, that's not my experience, so I'm just sort of some kind of anomaly, some kind of weird, like it can't be, I'm not trans, right? Because that's not supposedly what it is. And so so it was really sort of stumbling on this like forbidden knowledge about it, uh, reading some of the people who are these very controversial figures, uh, the people who talk about this stuff, the doctors that talk about this, where I saw like, oh, like that's not exactly right either, but it's at least describing something that sounds a lot like my experience in certain ways. And then it was like, oh, I finally see something that sounds that I can relate to, and yeah, and so that was what made me feel like I wasn't alone, was encountering that stuff that ironically the trans community had suppressed, or at least the trans activist community. It's really not the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, so I guess that's the confession insofar as you're really not supposed to admit to feeling that way about being trans.
Do you pretend that you don't think this?
Um, it's more like I just avoid
Yeah.
saying it.
Okay.
Yeah. And incidentally, like it's a complicated thing too because it does like this is even what they say in these books, is that over time, by the time you transition, you don't actually really feel like that anymore. It shifts and it becomes about something else. So I don't really, I rarely feel that anymore. That's another thing I think is hard for people to understand, about how it works. So it's not like I didn't in other words, people think like when you say that, when you talk about this, people think, oh, like you transitioned like to get off, or you transitioned as like a fetish, a move to like satisfy your fetish.
You're saying
And
that's
it's not
just
like
part of it.
that, actually. You're right. They think that, and it's not like that. Um, it, but it's very hard to explain why it's different. Yeah, but it feels like, when you hear about sort of the worst caricatures of trans people, like, I don't know, like somebody who wants to get into women's spaces, um, out of some kind of, like it is for the, like, I don't know, somebody, like it is predator. I guess the ultimate caricature is Buffalo Bill, right?
Yeah.
The ultimate, like, fear-mongering caricature, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
God
so
bless
then,
him.
so it, yeah, so it feels like, if you have any sense of that, or even had in the past some kind of feeling of like arousal over the experience, then it feels very shameful, right? Because then you, in your own head, you go to this like place of like the worst possible
Yeah.
version.
You're saying like one side will think that you're Buffalo Bill, and then the other side
Yeah,
hates you for allowing the other side to think that you're like Buffalo Bill.
yep,
But it
that's
makes
right.
it so there's a lot of components about it that you can't actually talk about
That's right.
openly.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And then I think about somebody like me who is in, I mean, honestly, this is kind of why I'm doing this, is I thought about, talking to you, I mean, I thought maybe somebody who was in the position I was in would hear it, and at least think like, okay, it's not just me, you know?
I hope so.
Yeah.
I don't have any
Can I ask
advice.
you a,
Oh yeah, go ahead. Ask me what.
well, I was gonna ask you an advice question. It seems like, I don't know that you've ever said this, straightforwardly, but it seems like your advice to people who are considering transition is not to do it and to get therapy instead? Or is that something you would advise only on a case by case basis?
My advice, if you're considering transitioning, is to go to therapy. I don't think I would advise broadly for people to transition or not transition.
Okay.
I think all I can do is talk about my own personal feelings and reaction to it. But I don't want that to be a prescription for other people. That's not why I'm saying it. I'm trying to get other people to do what I think they should do, except go to therapy. I think people should go to therapy, especially people who are considering transitioning. Yeah. Not especially, but including.
Okay. That makes sense.
My advice for you is to be as honest as you can stomach. Being dishonest is lonely.
Yeah.
Although there's immense pressure on you to do so, obviously.
Yeah, well, it can be dangerous not to also.
Yeah.
There's going to be practical consequences.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. That felt good to say.
You're welcome.
And yeah, I like what you're doing, so.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Take care of yourself.
You too.
I will. Go to therapy and confessions with Mr. Girl. Shaylin, we need a go to therapy shirt. Your listening skills are great, Mr. Girl. Respect. Thank you. How does one get on the show? Join the Discord and talk in the Ask to Speak channel. I should probably put that somewhere. Go to therapy is the best advice you can give, honestly. Yeah. I also think not giving it implies that I can do anything that could possibly take the place of it, or yeah. It's good advice. It's kind of like the only advice. You should have moderated that convo Destiny just had. What convo? I'll watch that later. Isn't this in a way therapy? No, this is in no way therapy. Therapy, let me tell you about fucking therapy. Therapy is when your life sucks, because everybody's life sucks. And you're like, I don't know how to take care of myself. I don't know how to talk about my feelings. I'm tiptoeing around everybody. I'm confused. I don't know what I'm thinking. I don't know how to talk. I don't even know how to talk to myself. And then you pay somebody to take care of you. And they take care of you by sitting with you, providing space for you, listening to you privately. A judgment-free zone. This is not a judgment-free zone. There are 700 fuckheads, 701 counting me here, who are judging the fuck out of you. So no, this is not that part is not here. And then you pay them to be there for you in an ongoing way. They're gonna go through your life with you for the time that you need therapy, however long that might be. Could be weeks, could be months, could be years, could be decades. That person is there and they're in your corner. They're not trying to come up with a succinct way to summarize what they think of you in 20 minutes. That's what I'm doing. You're donating blood to the Mr. Girl show. And I'm painting with it for money. At the same time, I do want this to be helpful to people calling in and to people listening. The whole channel is about helping people. That is what I want. But I am painting with your blood for money. And a therapist does not do that. The money part is very clear in therapy. You don't have to say anything, and the therapist isn't saying things. The money part is separate from the interpersonal part. It's there, and you can talk about money. You can talk about your feelings about paying the therapist, and like, I almost think that's inevitable and useful. But the conversations don't have to be entertaining. A lot of therapy isn't entertaining. Yeah, and then like at the end of a therapy session, you say, see you next week. You don't say like, okay, well, I guess maybe I'll talk to you again sometime if I get back in the 2-month long line to speak to you and your mods decide that I have something worth saying. No, it's not therapy at all. There's none of the safety and none of the security and none of the responsibility, none of the liability. The intimacy is short term. No. You should offer people to share something in a DM if they aren't comfortable saying it out loud. I don't want to do that. If you're not comfortable saying it out loud, you shouldn't call in. I'm not going to read people's confessions here. And people are increasingly DMing me about your life, about their lives, and I read them, but I am not going to respond to them 99% of the time. I don't have time. A Mr. Girl sent me to therapy shirt. Yeah. I actually might buy that shirt if you guys make it. That's really funny. Shaylin? Shaylin? Make the shirt. Now. I've been to therapy, and this is not only far more interesting, but I've learned more about myself just by relating to these callers. Sure, there's books that you can read and stuff you can watch and songs you can hear that can help you understand things and life in a new way, in a satisfying, short-term, in a sense, like, quick way, where it's like, oh, where like a light bulb can go off and that can be nice. But that ain't therapy. I don't think you should compare it to therapy. Therapy is work. This is a show. It's not fun to do work. It's like the comparison between like watching a movie about a chess champion and becoming a chess champion. This is a movie about intimate conversations. But actual intimacy is much more work. And not as fun, true, not as interesting, but more valuable. Oh, yes. Can you have Ella Girl on, please? Somebody said. Yes. I messaged her when I had almost no following at all. But I'll message her again now, and hopefully she'll respond now. Yes, I have wanted to interview her. That's a great idea. Is he talking about Dr. K? No. I believe I think these things about myself and already, and my show already, and that is why I feel so critical of Dr. K. Not the other way around. Therapists also have an interest in you keep going and getting your money. I don't trust them, maybe because I'm naive. I guess I think that I'd actually call that a little paranoid. I think that if your job is to help people overcome their struggles, like you would have to be a really fucking crazy person to sit there week after week for an hour with the same person and intentionally prevent them from making progress. I'm sure it's happened, but I would assume that is rare. I think most therapists, the problem is going to be that they like don't know how to, and that they wouldn't know how to help. I think if a therapist is bad, I think it's because they don't know what they're doing. I think the idea of a bad therapist being because they're intentionally harming you or holding you back, I would think would be very rare. Go to therapy. It's worth it. If you don't like the therapist, tell them why you don't like them. And if that doesn't work, and if you can't resolve it, then find a new therapist. But I wouldn't go in. I don't agree. I don't agree with that, with what you said. Are there referral links for therapists? No. This is not a mental health resource. And no, the money, there's no, no, no. Can you draw? No, I can't really draw. Is the show over? No. We're going to do one more. When will you have Shaylin on my stream? I don't know. Maybe never. Probably never. Maybe she'll be in the background someday. Maybe we'll do for one of the advice and confession streams. She'll just be standing in a corner facing the wall. I could see that. Okay, baby. I'm ready. I'm ready for the last person. Unless there is no last person. Hello.
Oh, greetings, Mr. Girl.
He speaks.
It is I, Bargain.
Hello.
All right. I wanted to talk about. I believe it's a confessional.
Okay.
Not quite completely certain which one it's going to be, but it's about racial self-loathing or internalized racism or whatever word you want to use.
Okay.
So I live in mostly white country. Grew up here. Been always, like, for most of my life, the only black person in my class, at school, friend, any sort of gathering. Um, and it's kind of led me to a strange internal experience where, for example, if I look at a picture, like a class photo, um, I see basically everyone's white except me, and I feel like I get the strange sensation that is somehow wrong. That something about that is not right.
Like it's not true.
Not that it's not true, but it is something that shouldn't be an error.
Like
And
dysphoria.
yes, I suppose. Yeah, you could call it a dysphoria. It also happens, especially there was this one experience where I was actually relatively recent. I was like 23 or something, and I was like studying interactive media design, and we had to do a little film. And I was for the most part behind the camera, but there was like this part where I was in the interviewee. I was getting interviewed, and when I just saw myself in the image on screen, I just felt intense anger towards what I was seeing, and I had to physically leave the room because I couldn't stand looking at it.
When was that?
Uh, Well, I'm 26 now. It was about 3 years ago.
Have you seen yourself on film since then?
Actually, no. Not really. I don't really take any pictures, and lockdown doesn't really, facilitate that kind of stuff. So, not really. But ironically, when I see myself like in my room in isolation, like in a webcam or whatever, I can live with that. Like for me, it's not a big deal. It's only after I've been talking and seeing and interacting with a lot of white people, and I see myself in that sort of collective, that I
Yeah.
feel this intense feeling of something is wrong, and
You start
I don't
feeling like
really know
you're
what
white
that is.
eventually.
Again,
You start feeling like you're white eventually.
um, I don't exactly know. I think the sort of white identity hasn't really truly formed, more a sort of racelessness.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
You're clear.
I
You feel
also
like
have
you're clear.
yeah, in a way, I suppose. I also have I also don't really like or trust black women, and that's how I feel. That's an emotion that I have.
I
Um,
understand. You're not saying that black women are not
yeah,
likable or trustworthy. You're saying that's how you feel.
you of all people would understand.
I am. I know just what you mean.
Yeah. And I think I've had bad experiences with black women in my family, like the way they treat men, very materialistic, like basically cash cows, and very little intimacy or care. Um, and I think that has colored the way I see um, other uh, black women. And since I don't see many of them because of, my situation, I don't really get a lot of uh, something that proves that wrong. So I can't really feel differently about it, you know?
So it's almost like you're saying like your feelings about black people,
Mhm.
particularly black women, are mostly informed by your family.
Yeah, by my family and what is seen on TV and that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's very disheartening to say and to. I've been told that I don't really seem black or that I'm not really a black guy. Like several interviews, like when I apply for a job, like on the phone, they're like, "Oh yeah, sure, you seem very nice. Let's have an interview," and then they can't find me in the in the waiting room because they're not expecting a black dude. It's hilarious. Um, yeah, I don't know what happens to me, but
Kind of hilarious, kind of awful.
yeah, yeah, it is. It is very
Because you're saying it's not just you who thinks that you're raceless. You're saying other people are also reacting to you like you're not you. Like you're
yeah,
in the wrong body.
yeah. But but the funny thing is, once they see that I'm black, like they cannot get over it. You know, I can do whatever I could to prove that I am, one of them or whatever. That never changes. A peculiar interaction, for example, is I was like we speak German over here, and there's like a specific dialect that is very local, that kind of shows that you're from here if you speak it, right? And I was like in the supermarket, and I was interacting with some lady, um, and she spoke to me in clean German. That's something that you reserve for foreigners, you know.
Hmm.
Um, and I answered in the local language and in the local dialect, and she still answered in clean German, and it was like she could not comprehend that I don't have to speak to him like this because he can obviously speak the language. No, he's black, so he has to not be able to speak the language.
Or maybe she
And
did comprehend, but she wanted to keep it formal
no,
or
no,
exclusionary.
that's not how it is over here at all. Everyone speaks the dialect. It's
No, I'm
like
saying maybe
to her
she
friend.
wants. Are you okay? You're saying it's not possible that she was like.
No,
You're
it
saying
is.
it's not possible that she was being passive aggressive.
Uh, I don't think so. No, no. It was a friendly interaction. There was no way.
She just could not comprehend that you were not a foreigner.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I've had classmates do that too with me for a long time. So yeah. Yeah, I'm not really sure where I stand here because I feel very disconnected with being black. That is one thing I can say for certain.
Yeah.
And being treated as black constantly, even though I don't really feel black or and the worst part is it's not even authentically black the way I'm treated. It's like stereotypes. I've had girls like reject me because they thought I had like a big, a BBC, and they thought I would destroy their, their innards.
Rearrange their guts.
Yeah, and the worst part is that it felt humiliating in that situation. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what to do with those feelings. Have you seen American God? American
No.
Gods?
No.
Okay. There was this one scene. This like the main character is like a black guy, and he's oh wow, I can't really describe the show without going into incredible detail. Um, so anyways, let's just think of there was a scene where there was like a lynching, and the guy was being lynched by the KKK, and the feelings he had at the time was like not just the hatred towards the people lynching him, but also to his fellow black people because they didn't do anything. They couldn't stop it. They were powerless, and he had more hatred towards them than than to the white guys, and that kind of
You.
struck a chord with me at the time because that is
Yeah.
something that
You're
you
angry at
never
black
do.
people for creating these expectations that are now being applied to you.
Yeah, like why the fuck am I? Why do I only like back in the day? I only had the choice between being a nobody and being a rapper. You know, like at least in my situation, um, like I could either look like the stereotypical rapper guy and then do that kind of crazy shit, or I was just, you know, kind of a black guy, but not really.
And that's what you've chosen.
I did for a while, and it worked fantastically. I tell you, man, I was sitting there getting phone numbers. I didn't even have to lift a finger. I could be as introverted as I wanted to, and it all worked out. It all worked out for me. But you know what? I didn't fucking like rap anymore. I didn't like the shit anymore. I couldn't stand the music after a while. And so I just, started listening to metal and shit, and everything went to shit. Because you can't be black and metal. It doesn't make any sense, does it? Why do I always have to have this black modifier to my identity? Why do I have to always be a black this, a black that? I cannot just be some,
Well, yeah, it sounds like where you are that white people aren't even white; they're just like normal or default.
Yeah, absolutely, yes.
So you're because I think in a more diverse place, white people are a little more aware, or and usually that they are white. But it sounds like you are saying you're the only person that even has a race,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
and then the race you
Like I was,
have, it carries a
I
lot
was.
of negative
Oh, sorry.
connotations or expectations from people.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I think I might have. I don't really know what this sensation is. I feel alienated towards myself. Yeah. And I feel like it was induced.
It sounds like it was.
Nothing.
Yeah, it just seems like you feel totally disconnected from your body. Like you don't feel like you're supposed to
Yeah.
be in your body, and you feel and you don't want to be in your body. Have you seen
Yeah,
Get
I
Out?
thought it was. I feel like It was interesting when you were talking about transracialism and on like a
Yeah,
stream. I
yeah.
don't know which
You're
one.
you're. This is exactly what we were talking about.
Yeah.
Have you
And
seen Get Out?
I thought it was funny that everyone was like dismissing it um completely as if it's absolutely ludicrous. But then what the hell am I experiencing? Like it's not like I
So
want
you're
to be a different
experiencing
race.
transracialism.
Yeah. Like it's not like I want to be white, like it's not like I want to be that. It's
It sounds like
more I
you
don't
want
want to be
being
black.
black to be more like not having a race, the same way it is to
Yeah.
be white where you are.
Yeah. Exactly.
Have you
I
seen
would
the
if I
movie
could
Get
like
Out?
delete a concept out of reality, it would be race
Have you seen Get
and
Out?
poverty, but you know what I mean. Yes. Yes, I have. It was I couldn't really I couldn't really connect with it because it was a little goofy.
It is goofy.
But yeah, to me it was a little goofy. I'm not really a descendant of slaves, so that's another thing. Like blackness has been kind of defined by American, African Americans, and everyone else is just kind of yeah.
Along for the ride.
Yeah, yeah, like what the hell am I? Like I live in like, northern country. I'm kind of black, but all of the fucking ideas of what is black is American. I don't know. I can't really relate to the picking cotton thing. I can't really I can relate to the objectification, of course. That is real. People just assuming I have this massive dong and you know and just seeing me like that is an aspect. People telling me
Oh,
all this
I think
cringe
everything you're
shit.
describing is very much part of being black.
Yeah, it is.
I don't think I've ever met a black person that doesn't feel this way on some level, or who I've talked to about it. It seems very,
Yeah, I believe that. I
yeah.
do believe that. But I think for me it's like there's
It just
nothing
seems
left
very more
because
heightened.
yes, because I'm the only dude. I'm the like not saying that I'm like the only guy in over here that's like black or whatever. Like sure I see some on the street and we like nod to each other, but we're atomized as hell. There's no community. I have nothing, in common with these dudes. I don't understand them at all. They have completely different mindsets from me.
Yeah,
Weird.
I joined the Black Student Alliance in my college
Mhm.
because I wanted to like join. I don't know why I did that. Um, and it immediately showed my college was super white. I think there were only 300 black kids or so at the University of Colorado
Mhm.
at the time I was there. Maybe like 500, but out of like 25,000.
Mhm.
And I very quickly realized like, oh, none of you have anything in common with each other.
Mhm.
Like you're not really friends. You're hanging out all the time, but you don't really know each other that well and you don't have the same interests and like you can't really talk to each other. It was really weird. It was just this assumption of like, well, we're black, so like we'll be able to like that will tie us together, and it really didn't.
Oh my god. Yeah, I believe that. I believe that at all. As well. Well, Looks like I'm not that unique after all.
Nope, you're just another black guy. Well, have you thought
Yeah.
about? Do you think about leaving?
Yeah, but where the hell to? You know, like where the hell do I leave to? That's the next
Harlem.
question. And yeah, cause you said so.
It's called Advice and Confessions for a reason. I used to live in Harlem.
Yeah. Okay.
I was very conscious of my race there
Mhm.
because everyone was black. But I knew it was short term. And I
I
still
think.
went to other neighborhoods,
Mhm.
and I had roommates who were not black.
I've been told to leave.
Well, yeah,
Not as in get the fuck out of the country,
yeah,
you
yeah, yeah,
fucking
yeah, yeah.
nerd,
I
but
know what you're
more like
saying.
maybe you'll have more success in other places. And I found it offensive.
Are you offended that I'm saying it?
No, I'm over those feelings. But at the time, I was deeply offended that I have to leave the place I grew up in, leave the place I kind of, like to a degree, um, just because people don't see me as fully human.
Yeah,
Like,
I would. I
fuck them. Like, they
Well,
should
yeah,
fucking change their mind, and that's what I felt. But
yeah. They should change their mind.
I've been failing
But you want to
for a
change their
while.
minds.
Yeah, I really did. I did want to change their minds, as in, I'm a human being. Stop acting like I'm not.
You know when black women on Twitter are like, "It's not my job to educate you."
Mm. Yeah. What about that?
Uh, I mean, you can understand how they feel. Sounds like you're feeling that yourself. That yeah, it would
Yeah.
be you would be doing a great deed for race relations in the world if you stayed there and you know calmly helped every white person there see you for the real you and held their hand through whatever confusion they have. But I just think that like there's so many places in the world that
Hmm.
I've been places like what you're describing too. But other
Hmm.
places where it's like people are just used to more different kinds of people and they're just not thinking about it as much. And I wouldn't say people are like raceless. Like everyone's
Yeah.
aware of everyone's race kind of wherever, but like
Yeah.
a lot closer to it than what you're describing.
That's better. That sounds better. Because man, until I figured that shit out, that it was that, because they weren't like, hey, I'm a racist. That's like only kids do that over here, where they're like, haha, N word, you know. But they always act like they're trying to be accommodating, but then they insult you like in subtle ways. Like my therapist said, like, yeah, for a black guy, you're actually pretty attractive, and I'm like, that's a conflicting compliment.
I would say there's like five things wrong with your therapist saying that to
Yeah,
you.
yeah. Like, granted, I asked her, but yeah,
I don't think that matters.
yeah, good point. Um, but yeah, I thought it was, yeah, until I figured out, like, no, literally everyone is lying to me, and I'm right. That took me 20 years or some shit.
Yeah, I don't. I just think that given who you are, you might not be cut out for this.
Yeah, yeah, that
Like
is
if
true.
you like that's what I was saying about the I don't have to educate you thing. Like not everybody wants every waking moment of their life to be like. I mean, just the fact that your reaction to it is to like not recognize and or hate yourself and to start hating other black people because of whatever you feel they've done to contribute to people's animosity toward you. it just sounds it sounds pretty fucked up, and it's like it's hard to give you advice other than like go
Don't say it.
traveling.
Oh,
What?
okay, that's better. I was expecting get therapy.
Well,
But
yeah, I get
yeah,
therapy,
travel is
and
good.
maybe like I don't know. I think I don't want to judge your whole therapy relationship based on that one story, but I didn't like that story. But
Yeah, it's
um,
terrible. 7 years of shit. No,
the
actually, it's
okay,
longer than that.
the thing about get therapy is like it's telling people like, okay, you need to
I
figure
know.
out how you're feeling, but it sounds like you kind of
Mhm.
know how you're feeling. I think there's some weird shit with
Mhm.
your family in there that you're pinning on like
Yeah,
the
just
cultural
one topic at a
situation, and I
time.
think you need to look into that. But even that aside,
Yeah.
the fact that you feel like ostracized to the point of like depersonalization where like you don't know, like you feel like you're in the wrong body.
Uh-huh.
um I don't know, it's like the shit I say about trans people. I'm like, we have to stand up for, you know, better
Yeah.
treatment of people based on their gender and their bodies, and better self-acceptance and better mental health,
Yeah.
and like I
Yeah, I
don't think we
accepted
should.
that.
But
Yeah.
at the same time, um you are also living in what sounds to me like a particularly like bad situation
Mhm.
based on who you are and like how you're sort of like psychologically built. So my advice would be
Yeah.
to spend like a summer or a month or two just somewhere like more diverse and see if you feel differently.
Mhm.
And maybe you'll learn, maybe you won't feel differently. Maybe you'll learn from that like this is more personal shit than you thought, and you're projecting it onto
Mhm.
the societal situation. Or maybe you'll realize like you don't
Um,
want to live there. Like imagine if you were like living in New York,
mhm.
and then at age 26, for some reason you're like your job was like, oh, you have to go live in like this country where everybody speaks German and is white.
Yeah.
Like I just feel like because you're born there, it's like it sounds like weirder advice, like I'm telling, or I don't know if you're born there, but if you grew up there or
Mhm.
you've been there for a long time, it sounds like weird advice to be like, well, just let them like live, be that way. And I understand the anger in response to that, but at the same time, if you
Yeah.
imagine like being transported there as someone who does feel comfortable in their body, um, it's like a shocking, I guess, just like a shocking story to hear in a way.
Hmm.
And the
Well,
same thing I think with trans people, that a lot of the dysphoria that people describe, I think, is the fault of other people. And it sounds like, I guess, the way I think everyone is about gender, like hyper pressury and hyper prescriptive and like not understanding of people and their bodies. I don't think everyone is like that about race everywhere, but I do think that about the people that you are describing. And there's no reason for them not to be, other than your well-being, which is not enough of a reason to completely change how they think. I don't know that it's possible. I think you just need more brown people there before they can even start to think about this.
yeah. Well, I have to see. I have to see. Yeah, maybe you just need more brown people in positions of power. I don't know.
I don't know if it has to do with positions of power. I think it's just
Well,
like,
we do have a lot of brown people, like, in lower class work. They
oh,
just
I
are
see.
isolated, They don't really, um, yeah. It's also, I have to clarify,
Okay.
like this, it's not like a burning hatred, it's more like a realization of where like caution and all these things that I accuse like other people of how they're treating me. um I do as well, just towards other black people. I catch myself and I stop myself, but the fact I have to do that in the first place, you know This kind of says
Well, maybe you need to
vulnerability.
spend more time around other black people too.
Yeah,
Not to be like go to your homeland and be in your community. Like I think that's kind of bullshit. But just as like
it is.
so you understand them better,
Yeah,
or
yeah, yeah.
as a
I
way
wish. I
to be
wish.
challenged of your preconceptions.
Yeah, it's it's not even. I don't even think it's. Yeah, it's just deeply embedded experiences from like deep childhood that flare up. Um, it's also weird because, for example, I speak German and English, right?
Yeah.
And for a long time, I could only speak English to black people and German to white people. You know, like the moment someone who was white spoke English, I would freeze up and literally forget the entire language. You know,
Yeah. You're
kind of
very
sounds similar. It sounds
compartmentalized.
familiar.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah,
Oh, like the woman in the grocery store.
yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder what that is.
Get out. That's my advice.
Hmm. All right.
Temporarily, just see how it feels.
Yeah, I'll give it a shot.
All right.
Hope I don't end up in a place more racist or racist.
I hope so
Like,
too.
oh, go to Japan.
Yeah, I
Never
wouldn't.
mind.
Don't do that.
Yeah,
Diverse.
obviously. Yeah.
Somewhere more diverse. And yeah,
Yeah.
somewhere where the color of somebody's skin is not 100% predictor of their social standing. Somewhere where it's a little more mixing going on in the classes.
Mm. By the way, man, good job on your on blowing up, man. You know, I've
Thanks.
been here for a long time. Yeah, I'm a cuties
Oh,
OG.
I don't want to guess your. I don't want to dox your username, but I think I know who
That's
you are.
okay. You know.
Yeah. Well, it's good to finally talk to you.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
All right. Well,
Oh,
anything else
see
you
you
want to
around.
say? Yeah. All right. Well, yeah. Maybe, maybe I will. All right. Talk to you later, man.
See ya.
See ya. Okay. That sound like Destiny. Anything else you want to talk about? No therapy recommendation. He's already in therapy, so I can't. I'm not going to recommend that somebody change their therapy or he knows what he knows. I said exactly what I meant to say. Why do I like Destiny? I think some of the same reasons he likes me. That I don't. He does not feel beholden to pressure from the mob to say certain things or speak a certain way or believe certain things. and he does, as he has also said about me, he does not have a, like, he can have a conversation. Like, he doesn't have a list of pre-made bullet points from which he chooses from. He also thinks extremely quickly, so like he doesn't need a list of pre-made bullet points. He yeah, just free thinking and quick. He's got that soft, gooey inside. He's very emotional, and I like emotional people. I wish you could have facilitated the conversation. Well, I don't know if that actually happened. I think you're tricking me somehow. No, I guess it sounds like it did happen. Yeah, everybody wants me to talk to Anna. I don't think I'm going to do that. I don't see any reason to do that, other than it will cause some kind of emotional train wreck for you guys to enjoy, which I don't really want to do. I disagree with Destiny on things, but it doesn't bother me because he's explaining exactly how he forms his positions. Yeah, I find it much easier to just sit with a disagreement with somebody who, kind of like the difference between, for me, talking to Vince James and Richard Spencer. It felt like Richard Spencer was willing to, as much as I wanted, explain how he got where he is. And when I wanted that with Vince James, it was like presented to me as obvious. Like, if you just read these statistics, you would feel exactly the same way as me, or you already feel the same way as me, which feels very much like groupthink. And I'm like, I don't care about that. We can't, there's no way for me to like honestly and like be like mentally and emotionally present, like to connect with that or engage with that or even understand that. If you're just telling me that I'm the same as you. And if I had access to the same binder, then I would think exactly like you do. And even though I don't, that I already think exactly like you do, I'm just afraid to admit it. Like, that didn't click with me. A lot of Destiny's viewers only care about drama and don't give a fuck about him. Yeah, that might be true of just Twitch viewers in general. Who are you having on for inappropriate questions this week? I'm not sure yet. I might be hosting a panel this week. But I'm not sure yet. I'm looking around. I might try to do like a all female or mostly female panel where I moderate. I'm putting some feelers out. See what I can make happen. I'm frustrated with panels, but I think if I were in charge of the panel, now that would be something else entirely. Would you read more of your college newsletter on stream? They're very funny. I think chat would enjoy them. Yeah, maybe. That's a good idea. I could do that. Are you a DaVinci Resolve guy? Oh, yeah. Big time. Be sure to have at least 20 people. Yeah. I will. I think 3 or 4. This streamer is a Destiny orbiter and is calling you out. Okay. Why mostly female? I don't know. Would you talk with Abba and Preach? I don't know. Oh yeah. I think I messaged them like 6 months ago. I have all these people that I've tried to talk to before that I have to like try again now. Why do you think you could moderate better? I think that there is a large tolerance for people changing the subject or dodging questions. And people are like, well, if you let me dodge your question, I'll let you dodge mine in these panels, and I am fucking sick and tired of it. And I don't know if I'd be a better moderator, but I'd be a fucking, like, we would get somewhere. We'd get something done. I have zero tolerance for evasion. All right. No more Dodgerino. That's fucking right. Is Pulp Fiction good or overrated? Pulp Fiction's pretty good. It's not my favorite Quentin Tarantino movie, but it's good. Okay. I'm gonna read some donations. What's the best Quentin Tarantino movie? The best. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood was really good. I'm a huge fan of Death Proof as well. That might be my favorite, actually. But it's like in the context of all the others. Like if you just watched it by itself, it's like part of it is that it's funny that he made it. The most like all around just like solid might be Jackie Brown. That might be objectively the best. Oh yeah, of course I like Death. I like Kill Bill. I like every Quentin Tarantino movie. Okay, Ninja Peruna gave me $5. Hey, love this stuff. What do you think about telling children that Santa is real? When would you tell your kid that he ain't? Love the stuff. Thanks. Hey, thanks for loving the stuff. I would never tell a child that Santa is real. I think it's weird. Like, children have such a hard time figuring out what's going on. We don't need to lie to them. I think there's a way you can have Santa known, like it's fun to go like give a hug to Mickey Mouse at Disney World. Like you don't have to know that he's not, like you don't have to think he's real to enjoy that. So Santa can be a fictional character that we love, and the story is he blah blah blah, and he dresses up blah blah. And if he says like, wait, but who's actually putting the presents under the tree? Then you can say like, well, we are. I don't think you have to lie to kids. I'm very anti that. Okay. Argo Mirage gave me $100 with no message. Thank you. I appreciate that. Too much joy you're taking away from them. It's not. I wouldn't call joy based on a lie joy. And you're only you can only. Okay, if I made up a new, like made up person that makes your kids happy, like if I like imagine you started telling kids that Mr. Girl is this character that when you get like a tingle up your spine, that's Mr. Girl tussling your hair. Isn't that nice? Isn't that a nice feeling? And then one day when they're older, you tell them, oh, Mr. Girl, that's not real. That didn't really happen. That's just like your nervous system. And the kids, they'll be heartbroken and sad. You can make up a whole lore about how Mr. Girl is, always behind you. It would be weird. It's weird to make up another one. And so just because you grew up with Santa, we don't have to normalize it just because we all grew up with these like fictional characters that we're told are real. I'm just coming up with an example so that you guys know what I'm talking about. Anyway, thank you for the $100. All that's to say, thanks. JB gave me $10. Today's episode of Advice and Confessions with Mr. Girl was brought to you by Therapy. Therapy. When you feel bad. Thank you. I think it helps me to like act out a little bit after these sessions, because I have to be so like I'm trying to be so good, but I'm not all good. You know, there's other sides of me that need to come out after being so patient with everybody. Would you have an affair? No, I wouldn't have an affair with anybody. Go on the Colbert Show. Okay, fine. Go on Sam Hyde. Fine. I agree to both. Gameplay stream when? Honestly, I think most of these people don't want to watch me play video games. Let's be honest. I wish they did. I don't think they do. I think the only way I'm going to play video games on Twitch is if someone with a large channel invites me to play and I don't stream it. Or maybe even a small channel. If there's like a group of people and it's like a friendlier thing instead of like a money transactional thing, then I could do that. But I probably wouldn't stream it. Or my channel blows up and I get it all set up and running and figure out my shit, and then I start a second channel for gaming stuff. I could see myself doing that for fun occasionally. But right now I just I don't think it's the right time. The reason telling people they need therapy is because most people who ask you for advice are asking for your advice, and telling them, I don't know, man, get therapy is very disheartening. The problem is, like, for me to actually give you, well, I'm anti-advice. I don't think people should give each other advice. So part of what I'm doing here is tricking people who want advice to come here and talk to me, and then I convince them that they don't actually need any advice and that they can't have any. And I feel like some therapists will give you advice, but I think a lot of therapists won't, because no matter how well you know somebody, you don't know what they should do. You know what you want them to do. And so I can frame it like that. Like, I want you to go to another country and see if there's less racism there, and maybe it'll change how you feel. But I don't like, and I'm okay with saying that because it's very mild advice. It's like, go on a vacation. I don't think that's going to ruin your life. But man, you like other, like on Reddit, if you ask for advice, people will tell you to uproot your entire fucking life, and they're 100% convinced of everything they're telling you to do based on almost no information. So I want to be very clear. When you come and talk to me on the stream, you're just telling me a story, and I can tell you what I see or what I think based on your story, but I don't actually know anything. I have no other reference points. If you haven't noticed, I don't really trust most things people say about themselves. So everything I'm saying is with this huge caveat of, if what you are telling me is true, then this is what I think. But to give advice, I think I would have to know that it actually is true, and I have no fucking idea. I don't trust self-reporting. So I'm much more likely to give advice very cautiously to somebody I know and who I've known for a long time, and I have like amassed a large amount of data about this person so that I can have some sense of what they want and what will make them happy and blah, blah, blah. And I will still disclose, like, this is me saying what I want for you. Yeah, so I don't think giving advice, I know it's disheartening. I wish I could be the magic 8-ball, but I can't. I'm more telling people how I think about what they feel and the way they're talking about themselves. Were you ever a fan of The Simpsons? Yeah. You would watch me play video games? Okay. That's okay. Because I'm shit at Halo? No, I'm actually getting better at Halo. Asshole. What games would I play? I would play The Last of Us. Online. You don't need to give advice either. Telling people to get therapy is advice. Yeah, kind of. I Yeah, that's true. It is. I'm more saying like I think you don't know what the fuck you're doing. And I can't. You see, you're calling because you're confused, almost definitionally, and like I can kind of point you in the right direction. Well, it's disheartening. It's a depressing show. Yes, everybody has problems, and we can't fix any of them. We're just gonna look at them for a second and say, "Ew, that's your life," and then next, that's the show. Therapy sounds expensive. It is expensive. What's my rank in Halo? Something gold, something. I don't know. I think I just finished the competitive qualifiers. I got 2 more donations. Edge gave me $5. Loving the streams, and especially that you continue to keep us informed of timing with your calendar. Hope people continue to support you. I appreciate the donation. This all sounds very ominous. Is this a threat? What if I don't continue to keep you informed? And what if people don't continue to support me? It feels like you're telling me things are good, but that they're really close to big bad. Okay, I'm gonna tell you. Want me to keep you informed? Shit, if you're gonna fucking freak out, let me tell you. Thanks for the $5. Here's the situation. Tomorrow, AMA, Doobie's Discord, 9 p.m. Eastern. I'm probably going to figure something out for the middle of the week. I haven't yet. Saturday, 9 p.m. Eastern again, an interview with a healthy gamer coach. And then Sunday is advice and confessions again. That's the next 3 I have. I'll probably add one more in the middle. Ever going to welcome your new subs to the Mr. Girl world? Yeah, welcome. Wait. Oh, somebody gifted 25 subs? Is that what that means? Oh, and somebody gifted 20 subs. I don't really know what these things mean. I don't know when these are from or what's happening. But thank you for everyone who's gifted subs and everyone who's new to Mr. Girl World. Buckle your seatbelts, because we're going all the way. Are you going to be doing advice and confessions every week for the near future? I think so. Yeah. I mean, I think unless something I don't know, unless I see a problem with it or like it doesn't seem like it's helpful, or I guess if it lost like a lot of popularity. I think that the things that are most important to me, like artistically or and like ethically, like on my little moral mission, are some of the things that get the least like attention. So yeah, I think so. I think I'm gonna keep doing it kind of no matter what for a while. Did they send you a healthy gamer coach instead of the real Dr. K? I think this person volunteered. I don't think they were sent. 20 subs is like $100 donation. Yes, that's good. Wait, but I only get half of it, right? It's like a $50 donation to me and a $50 donation to Twitch, which is still a lot of money, and I really appreciate it. Man, Twitch takes a lot of those, those subs. But hopefully, if I get I don't know. I got to talk to them if they. I don't even know if they're going to want me to be a partner. I don't know how all this works. I'm still confused. Do you have a queue from previous weeks, or is it walk on? Yeah, there's a queue. Diss track on Steven Crowder when? I'm getting closer to the point where I might be able to actually talk to Steven Crowder, so I don't think I'm going to do a diss track. I think it's going to be at some point. He knows it's his destiny. $100 donation to other viewers. Yes, that is true and very nice. Will you re-upload your Last of Us 2 review and hopefully all Last of Us games come out at the end of the year? There's nudity in it, so it's on my website. I think I'm gonna try to keep nudity off of YouTube. So there's like the sex scene in the game is in that, and I don't think that's a great idea. Steven Crowder literally talks to no one except idiots he thinks he can steamroll. Well, Steven Crowder can steamroll me any day, so let's talk. Let's talk, baby. Wait, what about the Brainwash music video? Isn't that Steven Crowder diss track? Yeah, it's true. I already did make it. Well, barely. It starts out with a little Steven Crowder, but it's mostly just about my sad life. You need at least 5 million subs to be able to talk to Crowder if you're on the left. All right. That shouldn't be a problem. Okay, I got non-offending Endrophile donated $20. Endrophile is a hashtag on Instagram. Dendrophile. Okay, sorry. A person who loves trees and forests. Got it. I was like, what is this? Gave me $20 and said, how many people have not rested under your shadow, old tree? And now you give hope and light, and now your crown is full of charm. But autumn is coming to an end. That's why I stopped by you. Your crown of leaves is copper. You are a poem to me. Well, that was beautiful. Did you write that? It's very nice. I can't find any Google results for any of these quotes. I think maybe you wrote that. I've watched most of your YouTube videos. Are you worried about the nudity in your videos being taken down? I think I've I've taken down the videos with nudity myself, so I don't think there's anything there. I'm just worried. I'm not worried about my channel actually being hurt. I'm just worried about getting derailed by flagging and then having to wait to prove that there's no porn on my channel and nothing breaks TOS. Will you get into Rust so that you can play with Destiny? Yeah. When Destiny's ready to invite me to his Rust server, I'll shoot the fuck out of him. Or whoever I'm supposed to shoot. What percentage of people in chat do you think truly understands what you're about, and what percentage is like transphobes and white nationalists being like, whoa, this dude gets me? I think it's possible that there are transphobes and white nationalists who understand what I'm about and who, even though they don't agree with me, like what I'm doing anyway. I don't know. I get emails from people who are sometimes like, I don't agree with what you're doing, but you made me hate women less. And it's almost like that means a lot to me. It means a lot to me when I can speak to people who understand what I'm doing, but are not they're not that much like me. I don't want to. I don't want to divide the audience into like people who get it and people who don't. It's a spectrum. I don't even know what I'm doing. I'm not even at the understanding it what I'm doing end of the spectrum myself. Would you talk to Augie so he hates women less? Yeah, I'll help him out. I can't say I agree with you on everything, but I appreciate your honesty. Thank you. I appreciate that. You're doing great, Mr. Girl. Thank you. Hey, Mr. Girl, I was wondering if you've seen any Harmony Korine films or Korine films. Spring Breakers. I like Spring Breakers. I think that's a Harmony Korine film. I think that's the only one I've seen. Big fan of Spring Breakers. Okay. Okay. I'm going to go. I will answer this last question though. What is the best horror movie? Yeah, Hereditary. I'll say my top. Okay, Terminator. In no particular order. Terminator. Alien. Hereditary. Rosemary's Baby. Invasion of the Body Snatchers, 1978. Terminator isn't a horror movie. Well, maybe you should watch it again and think about what you just said. All right. Thank you all for coming. How can you not love American Psycho? I like American Psycho. It's not really a horror movie, I wouldn't say. Yes, that is how you highlight a message. Good job. You got it. Goodbye, horses. Thank you for coming. Thank you for watching my channel. For those of you who talked, thank you for spilling your blood for all of us. I'll see you soon. See you tomorrow if you come to my AMA. Goodbye, horses.